教课程。
We're happy that you're supporting us being in class on time. Thank you so much.
非常感谢大家今天第二节课仍然能够准时的到达现场。
My name is Victoria.
我的名字叫松波。Sorry, my name, yeah, my name's Bobby or 松波 OK.
This is Bobby.
Yeah.
And we are again for the bridge to the BDW6 Asian Summit.
Yeah, 我们这节课仍然是通往金刚乘之桥的系列课程复习课。
Welcome our participants online. Hi there. Thank you for joining us.
大家可以跟我们镜头前的观众 say hi。
And so, today we have another review class, catch-up class.
那么接下来我们会有另外一节的复习课。
And we're ending our day with a great teaching again.
我们也依然由我们的老师来给予我们非常好的教授。
We have Essence of Diamond Way 2, performed by Geshe Michael in Mexico 2025.
这节课像是由葛西老师去年在墨西哥教授的内容的精华。
And if you miss our amazing teacher, Anatole Nguyen,
如果你去年没有参加的话，没关系，今天会由我们的 Anatole 老师来给大家做教授。
is coming back to us with this beautiful, amazing
对，他从
teacher. Thank you for this. Thank you for teaching. Thank you, Anatole.
让我们热烈掌声欢迎 Anatole 老师。
Enjoy.
Okay, good evening. Good to see you again. So I'm sorry, as usual, I lost track of the time. And it's good to see you all here. So we're excited to transmit to you the second whole entire course of the Bridge to the Diamond Way. Luckily, this was a short series where we only had 2 classes. So this is just like 2 classes in one. So this particular section of the book is, Geshe Michael said, it's the most important classes of the entire series. So it's very exciting to try to deliver this part to you. So we're going to talk about let me see. I don't want to keep you in suspense, but I wish I could show you no, it's okay. I wish I could show you a video, but I was not able to send it in time. So, again, this book is by Jason Kappa, and we're trying to learn about his life in order to ourselves live a good life. So there's I don't know, Brian, if you can find it, but there's a series of posters of Jason Kappa's life. And there's one I'd like to talk about today called Find Your Heart Teacher. So this is absolutely a crucial step to entering into the Diamond Way. So while Brian is trying to find that, I will try to give you my perspective on it. And it's not an easy topic. You may have heard this term heart teacher before, and there's many words for it. Root teacher, root lama, guru, and it's very exciting. And so let's talk about it. Let's just try to talk about it. Okay, so there's this idea that when you start your spiritual practice or you start your journey into trying to achieve your goals, your highest goals in your life, you need a teacher for that. And so we are talking today about finding that person in our life. So there's no question that we need a guide if we want to go somewhere that we haven't explored before. And here in the Diamond Way, which is what we're trying to, we're going from this perspective of the Diamond Way. How can I say? Yay, here we go. These are beautiful posters that are from a book that Geshe Michael wrote. Many of you probably know about it. It's called The King of the Dharma. And it's the illustrated life of Tsongkhapa. And there are like 12 panels where you can learn how he lived a beautiful life, how he lived a very meaningful life. And then we can sort of be inspired by that to do something similar. So we actually, my friends and I, we translated these posters a long time ago into Spanish, and we printed them, really, with permission, of course. We printed them about this size, and we ended up displaying them in a festival in Mexico, and then I hung them in my house for some time. They're probably still there in the apartment. And what can I say? I think that's they've been quite a blessing in my life. When I started putting them on the walls, they just affected me a lot. So we actually offer them for sale, I believe. You can get some here. And so anyway, that's something I would like to share with you, that if you can get a hold of these posters, then try to get a hold of them and look at them. And they can just some artwork, right? They can really inspire you to have a beautiful life. Okay, so without further ado, on to the topic of finding your heart teacher. Okay, this is what I'm going to do today. We're going to go backwards. So I'm going to talk about, when you later review the class on your own, when you look at the videos and everything, you're going to see that we went backwards. So we're going to do the second class of this course number 2. We're going to do it first. Okay. So when you're looking for a candidate, how to say, if you're here in this class, Geshe Michael said, you should try to teach it. Now, how are you going to teach this particular class to your students? I really don't know. I guess you just have to stand there and say and fidget, come a little bit late, of course. And so anyway, when you take a class, you have to teach it. And what I want to say is that this class is going to be a particularly fun class for you to teach to your students. Okay? So what you have to do is go through your life and start with some candidates of who might be a teacher for you in your life. And usually the first person that comes to mind or as a probable candidate, like earlier today, I said maybe my brother is a very special being because he taught me a lot of things. So the first person that we might consider who's taught us is our mother. And I'm going to try to share with you a technique to have gratitude for someone who's helped you. And it's not something that you would normally think of doing, okay? And it's to try to evoke a sad story in your mind, okay? Try to think of something sad. So when I was, I remember I was about 16, I was getting into the Beatles. And there was this song that I don't know why, I wasn't sad at the time, but I just kept listening to this song so often. So in order to really make up for the last 15 minutes of this presentation, I'm going to sing for you this song, okay? So here we go. This I didn't plan ahead, okay, so let's see. Anna, girl, before you go now, I want you to know now that I still love you so, but if he loves you more, go with him. Anna, you come and ask me, girl, to set you free, girl. You say he loves you more than me, so I will set you free. Go with him. Yeah. That's a sad song, right? That's a sad song about someone you love so much, and this just imagining that they break your heart because they move on to somebody else, and to try to have the courage to say, well, I love you, so if you love someone else other than me, if you love someone more than please, go for it. It's so, and I didn't have that situation in my life, but it helped me to open my heart and to want to fall in love and to, you see what I mean? Like, you can think of something sad, and it's not to make you sad, it's to make you happy. So I would listen to that song not to sit there and cry and feel sad, but to feel happy. And when you do these thoughts about who's teaching you, a lot of times what they are teaching you is something about the sadness of the world, and wanting to overcome it. And then when you think about it, you feel happy. So I hope that we don't leave this class feeling sad. We feel like we're listening to a sad song, and we feel inspired, we feel happy. So with your mother, you can think about something like imagining that your mom gave birth to you and she died trying to give birth to you or while giving birth to you. So we would go through like a meditation like this, and we would think, my mom, I don't know, you would, and I know you think it's bad luck or something you might think it's bad luck to imagine your mom dead if she's not already left this world. But in fact, in my own experience, I feel like this is actually what would make us appreciate the people in our life. So they say, just as a teaching tip, when the teaching's not like going perfectly, then tell people, let's meditate. And then they can close their eyes and you can kind of, so let's do that, okay? I'll sit down here and we can close our eyes and we can do a little meditation, just a short contemplation. Okay, so sit up nice and straight. I think there might be a lot of people in here who have been meditating a lot and really enjoy meditation. So let's enjoy that moment when you get to stop and have a moment to think about things, think about your life. This is the break or the vacation you've been wishing you could take, and you can take it anytime, right? So bring your attention to your breath. And you're sitting here. Most of us are, I'm sure, aware of our bodies. And it's not a big stretch. To think that this body came from somewhere. And if I challenge you right now to really trace back where this body that you're sitting in, or that's sitting in the chair right now, where it came from. It's not hard to realize that it came from the body of someone else. It didn't just pop out of the sky. I'm an adult now. I'm a certain age now. But there was a time when I was younger, maybe I was in my 20s or teenager. And that didn't come out of nowhere. Before I became a teenager, I was a kid, smaller than I am now. And before that, I was a baby. And before that, it wasn't my birthday yet. Before that, there was a time before my birthday. And there was a beautiful vigorous, youthful being called my mother, and she had a life, and she had hopes, and she had dreams. That developed over the course of her life. She had a way of seeing the world. There was a time before I was part of the equation, before I was part of her life, and then quite suddenly I appeared into her life. And this thing started to grow inside her belly. And it started to stretch her stomach. And it expanded every day. And it started to become a bit overwhelming. And consciously or subconsciously, my mother began to realize that there was a danger that came along with this that came along with anticipating the birth of this child, which was me. And there must have been some moment in there where my own mother decided it was, the fact that I'm here today means that there must have been some moment in my own mother's life where she decided that it would be worth it to go along with the process and try to give birth to me, even though it was going to be extremely painful, excruciating, and even though she might lose her own life. Okay, you can bring your attention back to your breath. And then you can slowly start to open your eyes. Okay, so a seed has been planted in my mind and in your mind. I'm no master meditator at all. I'm not able to, how to say, complete the meditation. You know, I can think of my mother. I can think that she risked her life for me, but I can't really, I'm not able yet to fathom what she's done for me. I'm not that level of meditation. So it's nice to be able to assess our meditation level. You know, you may check it by how long you can sit still or how slow your breathing becomes. But I encourage you to think, and myself especially, of the ability to think of your mother, for example, and to fathom the sacrifices or the courage that she had in order to bring you into the world. That would be sort of a goal of learning to meditate, of learning to plant the seeds for meditation, however you want to think of it. But if any of us could achieve a certain level of concentration where we were not the way we may be today. Today I don't yet have the ability to really complete the meditation, to really see the implications of something that's part of me, that's part of my own life, that's part of my own existence. I carry it with me all the time. I'm alive, I had a mother, but I'm just kind of defective at this moment. I don't have the ability to direct my mind in a certain way where I can thank her or I can respect her. And yet, she already gave us a teaching. Every one of our mothers we already have this teaching. We received like what do you call them? Mom Sutra. We all have heard the Mother Sutra. Every one of us had a mother, and every one of us has the clues to be able to learn from them. And yet, we have to make some kind of effort in order to get that, to extract that teaching. So the rest of the contemplations would have to be similar, right? There's people in your life right in front of you all the time who've given you great gifts, given you great teachings. In that sense, they could be your teacher. But as we can see, there's some blockages. Like I'm at a point in my life where my mother is older. She's in her 70s now. Yeah. And so, I worry about her. I worry about how many days I'll be able to call her on the phone and to talk to her. And I don't want to do a meditation where my mother passes away or my mother could have died when I was born. I don't want to go there. But if I realize that part of understanding what she taught me is to actually try to, go home after this retreat and try to have the experience yourself of what it would be like to not receive this teaching, which we haven't even appreciated yet. Then try to appreciate it. Because the idea, I believe, is quite crucial to anyone who would like to help the world. We should lose the defect that we possess, which is a lack of gratitude. We should try to fix ourselves of that, because that's one of the steps to loving everyone and helping them, is to be grateful for what they've given us. So I leave you with that as an exercise, and you take it where it feels like it will develop you. And sometimes, in my case, it's much easier to sort of meditate with a friend, meaning it's not that you sit there in front of them and close your eyes and be silent, but you talk it over and you try to go deeper into this appreciation. So we can say that the ability to sacrifice yourself for someone else who's basically not quite yet you. You haven't, your mother sort of found out that she was pregnant with you, but there could have been an easy way to sort of deny the fact that she was that you were there, and she could have easily just pretended it didn't happen, and she could have gotten rid of you, right? She could have aborted you. So, in a way, she taught us about how to be you call her your mom, and so you take it for granted, but she taught you about friendship, how to be a friend to another person. This is another person. I remember the day that my wife and I, we got the pregnancy test because we were thinking that something's going on. and we got the test, and it had a plus sign, and it wasn't like, yes, this is my son. It was like, who's this? Who's this plus sign that just showed up on the, looks like a thermometer, but it's not. Anyway, who's this plus sign that just showed up? It's not like your mom was your mom all the time and that you were her son or your daughter. That came later. She was just, you were just a stranger in her belly, right? You were just a stranger. And then she decided, little by little, in English we say, take the hit. It means you give me the trouble, and I'll give you just if you have whatever problems you have, just give it to me. I'll deal with it, and then you're fine. You just go be free. And that's exactly what I remember. The sensation for both of us when we saw the plus sign. It's like we have to take the hit. Here it is. The day arrived, and now we swallow, and then we're going to take on the responsibility. So if that's not a teaching to become for what you're trying to become, right? You're trying to become someone who can help everybody, but you have to learn how to take the hit for somebody, one person, and in a royal way. And that's what our mom did for all of us. That's what our mothers did for us. So I'm just trying to give you an example of one. When you say find your heart teacher, don't not consider your mother as your heart teacher. She might be your heart teacher, but the only way you would know is if you investigated it. You'd have to look into it. You just can't say like, oh no, my mom, she's not the one, You never thought about it. You just didn't take the time. She could be the one, and you just haven't given it the time of day, given her the time of day. And so you blow it off. That's a bad habit. If you're looking for your heart teacher, you would have to consider each candidate quite carefully. Yeah? And then that just might plant the seeds to get good at finding your heart teacher. So we start, and I leave you with the idea of your mother as being a candidate of who is your heart teacher. And please don't skip that step when you're going through this process of trying to find your heart teacher. I do believe it's essential that we thoroughly consider our mother. And then she's going to kind of, if you do that practice, she's going to start to go up, 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 up. And then you might get confused. And you thought that one person was your heart teacher, but then you started meditating so much on your mom that maybe your mom is the one. And then we would say, don't stop. According to the class, according to this principle, we would say, don't stop there. You should check on your father. Takes two to tango, right? So think about and there's a whole tradition of what you should think about. I gave you one aspect, is that your mother sacrificed her life for you, and that's a teaching already. But there's other ideas that you can find very easily in the class, or even in the books. For example, if you didn't have a mother, then no one here would be wearing clothes or not dressed well. because if you've ever had a kid before, you know it takes a long time to teach them how to dress properly, to tie their shoes. And so, Mom did all that for us. And like that, you can go as long as you want, depending on how much you want to check on your ability to focus your mind. Okay, so then you can go into your father and do the same kind of exercise. My father was in the Vietnam War, and he lost an arm. Luckily, when I started studying the teachings, I got really afraid because I thought that my father had some really bad karma of killing people, and I wanted to help him with that. But when I talked to him about it, even though he was in the most difficult, dangerous missions, mostly because he was very rebellious and he wouldn't listen to his officers, and then they would punish him by sending him on worse and worse missions. So he said that it got to a point where every time he had to go on a mission, they would bring the whole family to say their last goodbyes. And so anyway, he was like that in very, very dangerous missions in the war. But interestingly, he never pointed a gun at anybody. He said he just shot the gun in the air to sort of like distract people. But he said, no, don't worry. I never even pointed a gun at a person, and I certainly never shot anyone. So very interesting. Anyway, he was one night, being so rebellious, he's supposed to be wearing these army green fatigues, like a camouflage, and he went out to smoke a cigarette in his t-shirt, white t-shirt, and someone saw him and threw a grenade into the bunker, and he took it and tried to throw it back out, but it just blew up. And his arm, his eye, his stomach, explosion everywhere. And so he lost an eye, he lost an arm, he always tells me this, but I lost my lip too, I'm sorry, I don't have a photo of him right now. But he said, oh no, I lost a part of my lip too. And when I was a kid, I always thought that was so funny that he would say, I lost my lip. I was like, that's not a big deal, Dad. It's just a lip. But now that I think about it, it's something. He probably liked he was he looked kind of like a movie star, so maybe it was something for him to be with one eye and, half a lip, one arm. Anyway, the arm was just hanging there, and it wasn't until I was older that he told me the story, but he said, that he didn't think that he didn't have much chance. He's just like bleeding everywhere. So then he takes the pistol, he puts it there, and he's just about to squeeze the trigger. And he thought about it first for a while, and he said, I'm just with one arm and one eye, I won't be able to do anything for his wife. He had 3 kids at the time, And he said, better that, he told me, he said, better that your mom go. Just like the song, right? Anna. He's like, better you go find somebody else who can take care of the family, and So, so he takes the pistol and he's just ready to, shoot. And then a thought comes into his mind that he says, there's nobody that will really love your mom like I do. So yeah, he thought that it just wouldn't do and it would be okay. He would find a way. So he he put down the gun and he started to run. I think he had to run about maybe 12 miles. And so then he arrives at the base camp, and he shows them his dog tag. He says type O or something. He tells them his blood type, and then he just lays on. He just passes out, and then he's just there for like 4 days, and finally the nurse comes over, and he says, "I'm so sorry." He's laying there, but then finally he starts, moving, and he says, "Morphine, please. I need some morphine, And the nurse says, it's been like 4 days, and he says, "I'm so sorry. We didn't think you would make it, so we saved the morphine for the other soldiers, So yeah, he's pretty cool then. He could be my heart teacher also, right? He's taught me something. And so there's people like that in our life. They're everywhere, actually. Your mother, your father, your brother. You just never thought about it. You never meditated. We never meditated on these things, really. And the thing is that according to these books, this book, you have to find your teacher. There's no other way. But according to that, to do that, according to these books, you have to kind of go through this process. So check on your mom and check on your dad and see if they taught you anything. And then, like that, your school teachers. So compared to your mom and your dad, your school teacher seems kind of so-so, or maybe irrelevant in comparison. But you're also missing something if you don't take some time to think about at least one or two of your school teachers who made it possible for you to even be here, to write, to read. So the feeling I want to give you is we kind of have this big debt of gratitude, and that in itself is a kind of thing that if we sought a teacher, if we look for a teacher, that's one of the things that the teacher would try to teach us. That's one of the lessons that they would try to give us. And so we have to check on people in our life. You can keep going. Your school teachers, of course, we said. Who else? Your first girlfriend or boyfriend. That's why I'm late today. I was on Facebook because I don't have any photos really on my computer, and but I remembered I have some stored in Facebook, and there is a photo of 16-year-old Anatole and my first girlfriend. It was pretty funny. You would laugh. I wish I had it for you. Maybe we can do it in the next class. Yeah. So anyway, please. What I'm trying to say is, like, when you pass this class on, you should also try to come a few minutes late. No, just kidding. But revel a bit in this process of who might have taught you things. Go through moments in your life, go through pictures, and try. You'll have fun when you give this class to find a picture of your first boyfriend, or if you have children, your kids could be your teacher. Then, of course, you have the person who taught you about emptiness and karma. And they also love you very much, and they also, they work very hard, 45,000 hours, just thinking about how to help you in this life and beyond this life. So we just in the same way that we have not been able to think of our mothers or our fathers so deeply and really appreciate them as our teachers, probably when we have our spiritual teachers or our Dharma teachers, we also we owe them something. We have to investigate a bit more. We have to take a little more time to think about what it takes for them to be able to stand up in front of us and give a talk, what they do to prepare for such a thing. And then we think it's an hour class, but it's not an hour class. It's 100 hours that they've given to give us one class. Then this starts to lead into the idea of last class, if you were here in this room, we started talking about how the people around you could be a divine being, an angel, an enlightened being. They could be teaching you. And that's like you always give the goal first, right? When you give a class, you go straight to the most important point, or what you're trying to reach, because the people may not come back, or we all may die or something. But anyway, now we're talking about how to get to the point where how do you actually accomplish seeing the people around you could be enlightened, could be an angel. So I gave you the task of trying to see everyone around you as an angel, but the thing is that we didn't give you the technique yet. There's a lot to it. Like I said myself, I've been trying for 20 years, and I'm making gradual progress. It's very slow. I'm gradually more and more open to the idea, that I could learn something from the people around me, basically. It sounds arrogant, I can't learn anything from anyone, but that's kind of how it's easy to live your life like that. It takes some teachings, it takes some advices, it takes some practice to where you could start to open yourself up to how many people might be trying to help you, and who might even be enlightened already in the best case scenario, in the best, if you had the best seeds, you could easily see that. So we need a bridge, we need some steps to be able to, I can't just tell you, try to see everybody around you as an angel. I tried, trust me. There's conflict, there's issues, there's obstacles. You need a bridge to that. So we're talking about something that sounds very simple. Think about your mother, think about your father, think about your girlfriend, think about your wife, your partner, think about your pets. Think about all these people, and it sounds like it's just a separate thing, and one is this lofty aspiration, and the other is just some basic practice that you must already have perfected. But I say, try to think of one as a bridge to the other. And I think as your assignment for this class, because every time we do a class, you're supposed to do a homework, but we decided no written homeworks. We decided on you just find someone, especially good is someone that you never talked to before, who you feel like might be interesting for you. You have some connection. I'm not asking you to pick a random person necessarily, but you definitely have a connection with many or all the people in this room. And it's such a pleasure to meet with them and to, take the step to make connect with them and just talk to them and say, what do you think is the connection between the first class, trying to see everyone around you as potentially an angel, enlightened, and the second class, which is trying to pick out some people who might be teachers for you. You may have this idea in your mind that when we say find your heart teacher, that the goal is to find your heart teacher. But if you manage to do that, the aim of seeing everyone around you as your teacher will be accomplished at the same time or as well. So don't think of it as, I have to find the one and reject everyone else. You do have to find the one. You have to keep trying to find the one. Even better than your mother. Wow, that's hard. Even better than your, whoever you picked to be your heart teacher. You have to keep searching. There was a time when it was kind of embarrassing if somebody asked you, well, who's your heart teacher? And you say, I'm working on it, like, come on, you're not going to get enlightened if you didn't find your heart teacher. That's step one. But I encourage you to take a different perspective, and maybe you can give them a wise look and you say, I'm looking, I'm trying to find them. It doesn't say, to say find your heart teacher could be it could mean go do it and accomplish it, or it could also mean go try and try to find them. Maybe that's the exercise. So don't get caught up in, who's your heart teacher? Do you have one? The purpose, I believe, in my heart, I believe that you should keep looking for them, trying to find them, and not looking like this, necessarily. I mean, look inside your own heart and try to find who's helped you. And you might end up in that process. Sounds kind of like, it sounds like a strange kind of cult, where you try to find the one person who's supreme for you. But if we really go through the exercise, we find out that this teaching allows us to see all the people around us, each other, as all the time teaching us. So then we're quite happy. Thank you so much, and I appreciate your attention and time.
Thank you, Anatole. Please, let's express our gratitude and appreciation to this deep, deep teaching. Anatole shared with us all his beautiful personal stories. Amazing. Thank you so much, Anatole, for this day. We are so grateful. Please, let's applaud him.
再次感谢 Anatole 老师的教导，他的故事非常动人。
Thank you.
感谢，再次热烈掌声。
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Anatole.
Please stay, teacher. Please stay. Thank you.